Wars, invasions, occupations, coups. They have a devastating impact on the country, its citizens, and on its own children, shaping, deshaping, destroying their lives in ways and in time, sometimes for generations. In these conflicts of ideologies, politics, boundaries, religions, these children are relegated to those of a lesser God. They witness horrors no child should ever face, losing loved ones, watching their homes and schools crumble, and being torn from everything they know, their reality torn apart forever. The pain and fear they witness stay with them, leaving brutal scars, not only on the body, that last a lifetime. Anxiety, depression, trauma imprint indelible scars which even time cannot erase. Far too many had to run, emigrate, become refugees forcibly. Some cannot, and they find themselves in the middle of it, waiting for a bomb to relieve them of their present with no future. Some get conscripted, become child soldiers, all robbed of the innocence and joy that should belong to childhood. The toll it takes on them doesn't just break their hearts, it crushes their dreams. Their future is put on hold, their aspirations bombed. The basic need for education doesn't remain basic anymore. It stacks under as they struggle just to survive, facing hunger, sickness, and death every day. Their childhood cooked. In our next 4-part series of Cooked Childhood, 4 young readers will tell the stories from 3 war-torn countries where millions of children are growing without childhood. From Afghanistan to Iran to Palestine, the childhoods are invaded, occupied, and cooked. Yet, even in the darkest times, the resilience of children shines through, and then again, they rise, phoenix like, with hope for healing, growth, and a brighter tomorrow. Welcome to the Bookbibuli podcast. Over the years, journalism has lost its depth, favoring shallow, profit driven infotainment over real investigative work. However, Sacco revives true journalism in Palestine, documenting first hand accounts through interviews and illustrations. He highlights the often overlooked Palestinian perspective, but focuses more on personal stories than global politics. While this approach might have blind spots, it still offers a very powerful and humanizing look at life in Palestine. Sacco's honest self-portrayal makes the book both compelling and educational. Palestine, I think, is a must-read for anyone seeking a deeper understanding of the issue. And we have Abhyuday with us today to discuss this graphic novel. Hello, Abhyuday. It's good to have you with us again.
Hello everyone, I'm Abhyuday Singh. I've been here once before and I'm thrilled to be back here again. I like to immerse myself into books and express myself through art.
Well, considering that you like expression in art form, tell us, what do you think is the significance of Joe Sacco's choice to present Palestine as a graphic novel rather than a traditional prose book? And how does the medium affect your understanding of the events and people depicted?
Joe Sacco's choice to present Palestine as a graphic novel is highly significant. It allows the reader to visually immerse into the physical and psychological realities of living life under occupation from another nation. The reactions and expressions convey psychological and emotional states of many of the people depicted in the novel that would have been difficult to capture in a traditional prose. Being able to see the experiences of people living under occupation in an imagerial setting makes the reality feel more real and less abstract.
Sacco's approach is deeply personal. He places himself at the center of the narrative. He captures his own biases and the complexities of his interactions. So I think he tries to balance his role as an observer and as a participant in the narrative. Do you think this dual perspective enhances or limits the authenticity of the account? And how does it affect the entire book?
Sacco balances his role as both a participant and observer by openly depicting his presence in the graphic novel by showing himself asking questions and his reactions based on the environment he is in. The dual perspective shown by Sacco increases the authenticity of the story as it reveals his own biases and views, showing the reader a sense of honesty and humility.
Tell us, how does the author depict the complexities of daily life in Palestine under Israeli occupation?
Sacco depicts the complexities of daily life of Palestinians under occupation by showing the constant fear, restrictions, and humiliation they face every day. He shows the impact of the occupation on Palestinians, the detailed accounts of houses being destroyed, refugees in overcrowded camps, or the stories of dead family members create a powerful scene.
You have been part of Bookbibuli for a long time. Like you said, you're here once again. What do you think of the North Star program of Bookbibuli?
Thoroughly personal, the North Star program is private from the core. The skeleton of the body of the North Star program is unique for each and every child. The development of the program starts only after a thorough understanding of the tastes, interests, aspirations, concerns, exposure, and other factors captured in a psychoanalytical interview. Every bit of the individual to the bone of the program.
That's correct. It's a purely individualistic and personal program, how it should have been from the beginning. And I would urge the listeners to check it out on the website. Coming back to the book, Sacco doesn't just report facts, he captures lived experiences from the humiliation at military checkpoints to the scars of past violence. But he uses humor as well. What role does his humor play in conveying the harsh realities of life in Palestine?
Humor is used by Sacco as a way to showcase irony of the situation at hand. It serves as a way for the people under occupation to have some relief and pleasure in their life. It creates a sense of unity and compassion between all.
From what I remember, you have had strong views on the Israel Palestine conflict. And I believe this novel helped mellow them somewhat. So tell us, how does Sacco challenge, or let's say reinforce, Western perceptions of the Israel Palestinian conflict? And how does he present the human side of the story, which I think is much more important than the global side?
Sacco combats the Western perception of the Palestinian cause by showing the region in a more empathetic light. Rather than just focusing on short, simple stories of Palestinian accounts, Sacco shows the cost the humans face, the loss of humanity under occupation, and shows the humanity and resolve of the Palestinian people under the occupiers.
The lives of ordinary Palestinians is the focal point for Sacco, and he illustrates the effects of the conflict on individuals, communities, and then, of course, the larger geopolitical landscape. Tell us a little about that.
The author has used many individual stories and accounts to illustrate the hardships faced by the people in the region. The stories resonate with the viewer, creating a sense of reality.
It is important for people to remember so that the sacrifices of people are not forgotten or delegated to backgrounds by political agendas which are being followed at that particular time. And that, I think, is the role of memory and storytelling in Palestine. How far do you think Hasako succeeded in doing this?
The role of memory and storytelling acts as a way to preserve the Palestinian identity and culture against their occupiers. The stories shared show a new perspective towards the conflict, challenges the existing accounts, and make sure that any Palestinian account isn't forgotten or misused.
Okay, do you think that the visual nature of the book, with its detailed illustrations and vivid depictions of violence and suffering, they impact, they influence the narrative.
The visual imagery showed by Sacco acts as a reality check for the reader. The depicted violence and suffering leave a huge impact by making the conflict seem more real and inhumane. The imagery helps enhance the seriousness of the conflict as it provides a raw and unfiltered view into the lives of daily Palestinians.
Finally, what do you think he hopes to achieve with this book, with Palestine?
Through the graphic novel, Sacco tries to provide a deeper knowledge into the Palestinian Israel issue by showing it through the perspective of everyday Palestinians, by humanizing their stories, and directly standing against the views widely accepted.
Thank you so much for being with us as well.
Thank you.
Joe Sacco's Palestine is a groundbreaking work of graphic journalism that immerses readers in the harsh realities of life under Israeli occupation. Blending investigative reporting with striking black and white illustrations, Sacco crafts a raw, unfiltered portrayal of Palestinian life in the early 1990s. Sacco's illustrations are highly expressive, balancing realism with a slightly grotesque, caricature like style. The stark black and white contrast heightens the book's intensity, reflecting the bleakness of the situation. And now it's time for Bookbibuli Read Reco. Sacco's writing is conversational, immersive, and the dialogue is authentic, and it is often heartbreaking as he records the voice of refugees, activists, and ordinary Palestinians living under occupation. This book is best suited for mature teens, 16 and above, and adults due to its complex themes, graphic depictions of violence, and political subject matter. The books to be read before this would be Mornings in Jenin, Persepolis, and Mouse. And the best book to follow this would be Footnotes in Gaza by the same author, another Sacco masterpiece covering historical massacres in Palestine. Palestine is a must read for anyone interested in the Israeli Palestinian conflict. Journalism, or the power of visual storytelling. His fusion of art and reportage delivers an emotional punch that traditional journalism often lacks. So there goes. Until next week, better read, read better.